The Name of the Magic Tree, written and read by Mr. Dickinson. Long ago, on the great plains of Africa, there was a magical tree. The beautiful tree produced the most delicious and plentiful fruit, and animals from all around came to enjoy the mouth-watering treat. At the base of the great tree was a bubbling stream where the crystal-clear water shot up out of the ground in a wonderful silver fountain. On top of the tree, on the highest branch, perched the magnificent golden bird. She had long, flowing plumes of the brightest yellow feathers, and she would sing the most enchanting songs from the top of the tree. All the animals from around the plains would come to the tree to eat its delicious fruit, drink the refreshing water, and listen to the magical lullabies of the golden bird. However, over time, the animals started to take the tree for granted. They didn't appreciate the wonderful things it gave to them. They weren't grateful for how it helped their lives. Eventually, they even forgot the name of the tree, and when they did so, the tree began to wilt and die. Without being called by its name, the tree soon began to lose its leaves. Soon the fruit rotted on the branches, and none of the animals could eat it. Soon the fountain dried up, and none of the animals could drink from it. Soon the golden bird flew away, and none of the animals could hear her wonderful song. The elder leader of the village realized something must be done. She called all the animals together and asked who would be willing to take the dangerous journey over the mountains in order to find the wise and powerful man of the mountain and ask him, what is the name of the tree? To her pleasant surprise, lots of animals were willing to undertake the treacherous mission. She looked across at all who had volunteered and considered who would be most likely to succeed in this important task. Finally, she decided to send the elephant, for she considered him to be the strongest, most powerful, and most trustworthy of all the animals. And so the elephant set off for his long journey. He walked over the fields, across the river, and finally came to the foot of the magical place where the mountain man lived. Suddenly he heard pounding footsteps coming closer and closer to him. The elephant knew the dangerous mountain man was approaching, but he wasn't scared. He stood tall and strong and waited to meet him. The mountain man's voice boomed over the valley. "Why are you here, elephant? Do you not know the dangers of this place?" The elephant replied, "Do you know the name of the magic tree? Have you heard of the golden bird or seen the silver fountain?" The mountain man laughed. "Yes, I know the name of the magic tree. I've heard of the golden bird and I've seen the silver fountain. The name you seek is a Wangalima, but to get back to the village you must first climb my mountain. As you walk, you must not look around, for if you look left or if you look right, you will be frozen to the ground." And so the elephant set off for his return journey. He remembered well the words of the mountain man, and he became very scared. He tried to focus on the road ahead, but he could also see beside him the frozen statues of many stone animals. As he passed, the statues whispered to him, "You've forgotten the name of the tree, elephant. You must ask the mountain man again." And the elephant realized they were right. He had forgotten. And so he turned around to ask the mountain man again. And immediately he felt his legs get heavier. His ears became stiff, and he was turned to stone. Back in the village, the animals worried about what had happened to Elephant, but they also knew that they must find the name of the magical tree as quickly as possible. And so the old lady looked at the animals again and considered who could she trust to go to the mountain man and find the name of the magic tree. And then she saw the tiger, fast and agile, fearless and cunning. Surely he would be able to find out the name of the magic tree. And so the tiger set off for the mountain. He walked over the fields, across the river, and finally came to the foot of the magical place where the mountain man lived. Suddenly he heard pounding footsteps coming closer and closer to him. The tiger knew the terrifying mountain man was approaching, but he wasn't scared. He stood courageous and brave, ready to pounce. "Why are you here, tiger? Do you not know the dangers of this place?" The tiger replied, "Do you know the name of the magic tree? Have you heard of the golden bird or seen the silver fountain?" Again the mountain man laughed. "Yes, I know the name of the magic tree. I've heard of the golden bird and I've seen the silver fountain. The name you seek is a Wongalima, but to get back to the village you must first climb my mountain. But as you walk you must not look around, for if you look left or if you look right, you will be frozen to the ground." And so, as the tiger walked over the mountain, he tried to remember the mountain man's words. He was so very sure he'd be able to return to the village and that he would be a hero. He saw the frozen stone statues on the side of the road, but he was able to ignore them. All he thought about was how impressed the animals of the village would be with him. People would always remember his name. He would be a hero. They would write songs about him and celebrate his name forever. Then suddenly he realized he was so focused on imagining the excitement at the village, he'd forgotten the name of the tree. And so he turned around to ask the mountain man again. And immediately his legs became heavier. His tail became stiff, and he was turned into stone. Back at the village, people were becoming even more anxious. Without any sign of elephant or tiger, everyone was very worried about whether they would ever discover the name of the magic tree. The old lady looked across the animals who were left and considered which animal she could depend on. Suddenly, she heard a tiny voice at her feet. "Please, wise lady, please let me go." She looked down and saw the tiny mouse sitting at her feet. "But mouse, the mighty elephant has already failed us. The brave tiger has failed us. What possible chance does a tiny mouse have?" But the mouse merely repeated himself, "Please, wise lady, please let me go." And so, without any other animals willing to volunteer for such a dangerous mission, she finally relented and let the little mouse go. He walked over the fields, across the river, and finally came to the foot of the magical place where the mountain man lived. Suddenly, he'd heard pounding footsteps coming closer and closer to him. The mouse knew the terrifying mountain man was approaching, and he was very scared. "Why are you here, silly little mouse? Do you not know the dangers of this place?" The mouse looked up at the mountain man towering over him, stared straight into his bone-chilling dark eyes, and he replied, "Do you know the name of the magic tree? Have you heard of the golden bird or seen the silver fountain?" And again the mountain man laughed. "Yes, I know the name of the magic tree. I've heard of the golden bird and seen the silver fountain. The name you seek is a Wongalima, but to get back to the village you must first climb my mountain. But as you walk you must not look around, for if you look left or if you look right you will be frozen to the ground." As the mouse set off for the long journey back home, he wanted more than anything to succeed and help the people of his village. He was focused on nothing else. He didn't see the statues at the side of the road. He didn't hear their whispers. He didn't think about the village or the way the people would treat him. All he thought was, "A Wongalima, a Wongalima, a Wongalima." And although the journey was long, eventually he reached the village. As he approached, he started to shout the name aloud, "A Wongalima, a Wongalima." Immediately, the rest of the village remembered the forgotten word, and they joined in his chant, "A Wongalima, a Wongalima." As they said it, they looked to the tree. Suddenly, they saw tiny green shoots appearing on the bare branches. They saw leaves starting to emerge, and quickly these were followed by the first budding flowers. Right before their eyes, the branches became heavy with fruit, and the tree returned to its breathtaking former glory. Next, they looked under the tree, and they saw a tiny droplet of water appear. The droplet was struggling out of the ground, almost fighting to escape. When it was finally free, it was followed by more and more water, all pushing together out of the soil. And suddenly, as if someone had turned on a tap, the ground exploded and the water gushed into the air in a tall, spectacular fountain. It flew high into the sky, covering the animals under the tree, but also sending refreshing rain across the African plain. It also fell even further afield, all the way in the magical place where the mountain man lived. And so the water fell on a stone elephant, and it fell on a stone tiger, and it fell on all the other animal statues who'd been victims of the terrible magic. As the water touched them, cracks appeared in their stony tombs. As more water landed, the cracks grew until suddenly the stone exploded and the animals were free from their rocky prisons. The animals were over the moon. They laughed and cheered, but then quickly rushed back to the village to join in the celebration. As they raced home, they saw a magnificent golden flash swoop overhead, flying at top speed towards the village. This was, of course, the great golden bird, returning at last to her favourite perch atop of the tree to serenade all the village with her beautiful melody. With the delicious fruit, the refreshing water, and the sweet songs of the golden bird, all the members of the village rejoiced. And so, at last, normality had returned to the village. Despite not being the biggest or the bravest of the animals, thanks to his concentration and dedication to the task, the mouse had achieved something much greater than anybody ever expected of him. He had overcome the powerful man of the mountain and had returned the gift of the Awonga Lima tree to all the people of the village. And of course, even though he hadn't asked for it, indeed he hadn't even thought about it, his great achievement was remembered and they celebrated his name forever.